All right, guys. Happy New Year's. Merry New Year's. And I'm just excited to start a new year, start a fresh year, you know. I'm very excited for this year. It's a lot. There's going to be a lot we are going to accomplish together as a team. I mean, we've been doing it for the past few weeks. I've been loving how the XPX ODT channel has been. Like the growth there is amazing. The in sync trading, like literally trading as if we are all in a room, literally in a room physically. And we're just throwing ideas out, what we see, where like we're having a great time doing it too, hitting goals. So with that, I created a spreadsheet. I basically call it the ultimate spreadsheet. With this spreadsheet, it's gonna be like three parts of the spreadsheet. It's crazy. So right now in front of me, you'll see basically, depending on whatever you start with 500, 200, 300,000, 10,000, 100K. It does not matter, but you are going to basically count every single month. So for this month, as you can see, I didn't even put the dates. There's no point of putting the dates, but we have 22 trading days left in this month, starting tomorrow. So for 22 trading days, we have 22 lines. Now, with that being said, each line represents that trading day. So upon opening and closing your positions, the goal is to always be at least 80 to 90% cash. The reason for this is even if you have runners, and like I always say, any runner above 100, and if it's 100% and you have 50 contracts, it's okay to keep that runner or whatever. 50 contracts and you get rid of half of those, or anything above 2 to 300, automatically you cut half of that off, and let that runner do its thing, because at that 200%, you're locking in your profit, you're locking your initial investment and a little bit more, to carry over. But most of us, we like money, so we like to take it when it's available, So with this, I'm going to break it down to you. So here you have starting cash. Let me zoom in. I'm just going to use one box. This is perfect. So here you have starting cash, ending cash balance. Okay. And then you have the difference. The difference is basically whatever. So let's say tomorrow we trade $500, and at the end of the day, my closing balance is $590. That inputs the difference. So you gain $90, you made 18%. Goal is 20% or more. If you make 18%, 15%, and you're content with that because you don't want to mess it up, keep that going, okay? So when you input your starting, your ending cash balance, you get your difference, you get your percent difference, basically can track what your gain is per day, the difference. And then in the yellow box, you see it says $27,513. You see January go, $27,603. So this green box here, that represents 22 trades at 20% compounding at $500. Okay. Now, I use a compound calculator, and then I basically was able to input everything I can in here. So I would basically go to a website, compounding, daily compounding website. Actually, let me get there for you guys real quick. I mean, it's free. But for those, hold on, daily compound. I'm coming right back to you guys. So the daily for me represents the day or a trade. If I just do one trade and I make my 20% on the day on the total amount I have, the total balance in my account, then I'm done for the day. That's just how you have to respect it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually show you guys. So this is the website that I use. New share. Where are we at here? Okay. So your principal amount, you're starting with 500, whatever the number is. The interest rate would be basically you're compounding at a 20% rate. People underestimate this, 20%. on $500. Okay, so we got 22. Sorry, Cuddy is sleeping. He's doing his little dreaming. Okay, so I input 22 days, right? That's trading days in the month. Scroll down, starting. The start doesn't matter what you put here, just gonna tell you, break everything down to you. So in 22 trades at 20% successful compounding on reinvesting your capital. Now, a lot of people are like, yo, are you putting your whole capital in it? Like in one trade? No, you are not. And that's something I was basically breaking down to you. So you get this 27,000. So that puts you at 5,420% in 22 trading days at 20% compounding. Okay. Now we're going to go back to our spreadsheet. It's actually better just do full screen. Let me just do that. There we go. Makes life much easier. Okay. Right. So we are here. So $27,603. End of the day, $90. That 18% that you gained reflects on that balance. Now you're $27,513 left to go to reach your target. So as you input your ending cash balance, it gives you the difference. That difference, basically ending cash balance, rolls over into the next day. So let's say, I mean, I'm not a fan of overnights unless it makes sense or I can afford to trade it, but it will be a small position, you know, but that also counts as that whole day of the trade or using my cash. So I have $500. I'm not going to take anything that is going to be too expensive. I'm going to find the best edge I can with 500, you know, so I'm gonna find trades where ODT I like. QQ, I can get 30-cent contracts, 20-cent contracts, 15-cent contracts, 50-cent contracts. That 50 cents is basically 10% of 500, right? So that 50 cents is equivalent to $50 a contract. So with that being said, let's say that $50 goes to 90 cents, just made $40 profit. So let's say with that 590 you have now, 10% of that is $59 per trade, you know? So if you're buying one contract at a time, you have 10 trades around that number to compound at 20%. So as you guys know, when we trade QQ, what happens? We get trades that literally jump up 50%, 100%. There's been times we got 300% on ODT. And last week we were getting some crazy ones, you know? And this is another good way to scalp. A lot of people have this thing where they have to put their whole account, meaning that whole 500 into one trade. And then next thing they know, it's like it goes against them. And then they're down to like 350. They just take $150 loss. Now, that's a big chunk. See, for me, this is about patience. You're compounding, but it's about patience, right? And you have to wait for the perfect setup. You have to wait for the setup that fits your trading criteria. It fits what you like, whether you like breakdowns or you like breakouts, or you just like bottom plays to where you have a double bottom on a premium, or you have a double bottom on a chart. You know, I like playing premium bounces, you know, where it stabilizes and go long on calls, or same thing for puts, you know, so it has to make sense. And if you guys noticed last week, the last 2 weeks, I only post trades that I just know we're guaranteed 20%, even more than that. And then I'm out. Because taking $50, compounding that at 50%, 20 to 50%, just scalping ODT one contract at a time, that's way over the goal for 20% on your account. So here you can see 20% is basically about $100 profit on $500. Okay. So input more, let's say next day, take a hit. Now you're at 570. This is being realistic. Then you get lucky. You have you almost double, right? So now you're at, let's say 920. This is a reflection. You see 18% first trade minus 3% next day on total balance, plus 61%. And then that just continues to reflect. Now, let's say you're on a streak and you're actually being super conservative. Now you're playing at the money trades, right? ODT. End of day, the best time to trade ODT, QQ, XPX, NDX, SPY. The best time to trade those is the first hour and anytime from 2 p.m. to closing, because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you get the best 2 p.m. to closing. Some days, Wednesday to Friday, the best start at 3 o'clock or 2:45 to closing. Fridays, Mondays, Wednesdays are always anything after 3:45. You get so cheap to where it's like you can just wait all day. There's nothing wrong with waiting all day. Like, as you can see me, the first hour, we can make 100%, 50%, 20%, 30% on account, whatever. We get a 20-cent premium bump, and we paid 30 cents for the premium. That's 50 cents, almost 50%, over 50% actually. Take it. Come back later, and you see me. I have this thing where it's like at 12 o'clock, I'm done. Now my time has shrunk to 10:30 a.m. to 11. I'm done, and I won't trade until after 2 p.m. Or I will not trade unless I see something that we can make an easy another 20 to 50%. And then if I already hit my goal and I still have, let's say, 60% of my cash available to trade, I will play end of day. And that's where I make the most money or the most profit on my scalps, playing smart and small. And that gives me that room to go just a little bit above, like hit 30% or 40% on total account that same day. Because everybody thinks that you got to put the whole thing in there. Like I said, you have 5,000, 10% of 5,000 is $500, but you don't want to use $500 per trade. You don't want to use 10% of 5,000. You want to use 5% of 5,000, maybe even less than that. You want to treat it as if you want to reach your goal. You have to do, it's going to take time, but discipline is going to show, it's going to give you the results you need, and that's the thing. So that is what I want you guys, come here, Papa, to be ready for. It's going to be boring, but who doesn't like boring money that actually just keeps compounding? There's no need to be aggressive. There's no need to fight. Or if you take a loss, be done. If you're down 5%, by the end of the day, be done. There's no point of going back to try to make it back. It just does not make sense. So that is what we're going to be doing. So over here, I already started. This is with a 5,000 account. This is going to be 500 tomorrow. I started with the 5,000 because I wanted my foot already inside the door. I bought enough time to do so. And this is basically the goal within 22 days is over $250,000. Okay. But the thing here is I'm not really trying to 1000% hit that goal. I'm just trying to compound. So if I'm making, let's say, 10% a day on my account, we can just plug that in with 5,000, 10%. You're still getting great results. That's 40,000 and 22 trades. The bigger your account gets, the whole purpose of this is the bigger your account gets, that tells you one thing. You reduce the percentage gain on your account. So once you get to, let's say, 50K, you're looking at 5% a day, And that's what I want everybody to understand. So like, look, 5% on 50K a day, you're not trading the whole thing in a YOLO manner. It's just 5%. Shows you how much you make in a day, 2,000, 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 changes. And this is just keeps rolling in the month. Now, at the end, what happens here is when you're done with the end of the month, here, when you input it, I'm going to actually get that updated for you guys. It automatically reduces 50%. And that is what you're going to transfer out at the end of the month of your account. Now, with these spreadsheets, there's going to be different types of setups like this that we can get the discipline to be very strict to where it's every 4 trades. So this is what I'll do here. By every 4th trade, boom, this would be, sorry, this is going to be red. Okay, so every 4th trade right here, every 4th trade again, what would happen is you would just take out 20%. That's another way to keep that discipline in locking in and not giving back. Okay, so we have that. This spreadsheet here, everybody should have it. If you don't, I will upload it as well. This is actually the first spreadsheet. So this one, you input your trades, the profit and loss you input here in the green. Let's say the profit for the day was $234. Okay. Actually, I can't put that in up there. This should actually be white because this is actually not anything here in this row. Perfect. It starts here. So let's say $234. Now, this is just a layout. Okay. So rent, this is my expenses for the month. Rent, $1,200, gas, $400. That's gas for car for driving, let's say. Cell phone, $122. Internet, $135. Gym, $45. Miscellaneous, that's basically food, eating out. You give yourself a monthly budget of how much you want to spend when you go out or just buying nonsense just to have cash in your pocket or whatever. You give yourself a limit, $600. You can also input your credit card debt if you have that as well, you know? And it doesn't even have to be credit card debt. It could just be credit card that you pay monthly. Now, everything you input here, let me just make this all 0 so you can see it in action. See everything change. Got monthly expenses. So let's just 2,300. Gas, 175. It depends. It depends on, y'all can even change gas for public transportation. Doesn't even matter. I wish I was still living in the city. But like I said, let's keep it back at 400. Cell phone, some people pay $80, maybe not even that much. Internet, some people don't just have, they don't, yeah, you know, let's 100. I'm just gonna say 100. Gym, 45, $10, $12, $15, crunch, whatever. You put that number in there, whatever you pay, $30, let's say, right? Miscellaneous for the month. I want to be cheap for the month, so $250 is my spending. So everything you input, rent, I would have to make $104 in profit a day to meet my rent monthly expense. Gas, $20 a day. Cell phone, $4 a day. Internet, $5 a day. Gym, $2 a day. Miscellaneous gas and food, $11 a day. Now, when you have your expenses here, zoom in, as you can see, it all tallies up. So you got $3,160, $3,160, sorry. That means you have to make $143 a day. A week, you have to make $718 in profit. Partial weeks, depending on the month, sometimes it's like short weeks, half weeks, $430. Okay, so this basically breaks everything down. So whatever, yeah, some days there's gonna be days you hit. It depends. It doesn't. You don't even have to show the amount or whatever. This is what happens. So you input here. I like to put real numbers. You know, like losses, like all of that. All right, boom, skip. Say 30, 35. Some people are like, I know I'm one of those that my account doesn't even move, like flat. So boom. This is like save end of the day. So this would go with this. Literally, it would go somewhat with this spreadsheet. These spreadsheets both will connect. So when so for, let's say for tomorrow's Tuesday, January 3rd, here, January 3rd, basically whatever gets inputted for that day over there will convert to this over here. I'm still set that up. So this is my profit and loss. So still have, let's just say we have a couple of days left in the month, but so far the profit and loss for the month is $1,600, well, $1,600, right? Variance versus monthly expense. So your monthly expense is 3,160. Now you have to make 1,491. And if you go over that, there's a savings. So perfect example, because you want to pull money out. You don't want to keep adding money, right? Some people be on loss streaks, 350. One day it goes in your favor. Let's just say that, right? Another day, shoot, your compounding is getting crazy. Another loss minus 1,300. Another game plus 576. Right? I just want to get it to where, let me copy. I mean, you guys get where I'm going with this, but I just want to get it to where you see what I'm showing you. Hold on. 56. But basically, all in all, I have to fix this. Yeah. So everything is tied to the date here. So as you can see down here, this hit for December or whatever. That's all down here. So I have to change these dates and everything like that. But everything that it basically reflects. And then when you start to go over, that gets transferred out. It becomes a savings. So then you can track in days in the week. We have this whole thing that I'm creating for you, for all of us. This is gonna be nice. You guys are gonna love it. I'm telling you. Use it. Keep track of it, because this is going to be it's gonna be, in a sense, fun, because you're challenging yourself to be disciplined, you know? And the goal is not to add more money to your account. The goal is to transfer money out of your account. That's the whole point of our job, to get paid trading, not just keep gambling and throwing money away. We don't want to do that, because I know I don't. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet. Whatever you start with, if you want to do 5%, 10%, go to the calculatorsite.com, go to daily compounding, put your amount you're starting with, whatever it is, add in the percentage daily or percentage on account you want daily that you know you will achieve. Let's be realistic. 20% is very easy to do. We do over that every day. So add that, and then you're going to do the amount of trading days there is. This will continue to keep compounding to the point where it just gets longer and longer, and we're going to be able to just keep going down and adding it to the next month, to where whatever data we had for up until January, let's say this, would just be put into one line for that whole month, and then we roll into a new month. So at the end of that, each month, everything rolls over, and it just shortens it, and it just keeps this clean. So it's not just all the way, it keeps going down like that. At the end of every month, we basically minimize it to one bar straight across, and then work on the next month after that. Now let's get into this market. Ooh, futures. Clean this up for you guys. This is a weekly chart. So here, what I'm looking at, and I'm still getting the exact same thing that I spoke about to you guys last week. I'm looking for this 10, what is that? 10,866 level to retest again. This is looking like a weekly box forming, but this area here has to hold. This 10,866 has to hold. I'd rather go to NDX because this is a NQ chart, but this isn't doesn't have enough candles on it. Let's get rid of these horizontal vertical lines. Here's up for you guys. 4D. We're in the weekly and the 4-day. We should be checking XPX or QQ. We can actually do QQ. So overnight, I think it started already. I'd rather do that. Yeah, we can do that. We got a 2-point gap down. It's on an extended hours. Hour. So lately, my number one thing has been trading QQ. I like trading it over SPY, XPX. You guys see me come in and trade XPX once in a blue moon where I see a nice setup for it versus QQ. Gains wise, QQ has the best gains payouts versus SPY. Like hands down, the best payout when it comes to gains. I've seen SPY move, let's say if I bought calls in SPY and bought calls in QQ, I would get 20% on SPY and I would get 50% on QQ, just to break it down like that. Like that simple. And I've been trading SPY and XPX my whole entire trading career. So being on QQ, which is tech, I like it a lot. Like I love it a lot. And it's something that I think we all can benefit from because I'm always looking for something that I have an edge. And if I was playing XPX or SPY, the 20% compounding would be a little bit more difficult versus the QQ because QQ setups are just they play off your Celts easily. I mean, I already know we're gapping now, so I could just put that on the chart. This is the 4D. I'm always mapping out. This is how I map out everything. I go from levels, the obvious here. I'm going to duplicate as well, bring that down to here. So for QQ, as you can see, I've placed that 262.78. That 262.78 was also placed for last week as well. So actually wasn't that actual number. I'm going to actually zoom in for you guys. But last week, my plan was to buy the 1120 bottom for the 4D. Oh, it's 1220, sorry. 1220 bottom. And the low here was 262.46. That's what I bought in NDX. And that's what and that references to QQ as well. So this placement. So I also said that for if it's XPX as well. If the candle setup is the same, it's similar. The 1220 low, that is the area you want to hold. So that's the area where I got long at. So that's 262.45. Now, right now, we are at 264.71 and 265.13 in between there right now in futures, right? So for me, I would honestly myself, I'm looking to add again around 262.45. That is my target. Anything under that, I will give it a little bit of time. I bought January 20th calls, and I also bought puts to hedge as actually closer than the 120 calls because I want to be hedged short term. So short term, if there's any downside, I have that short term protection. And let's say that short term downside happens. Let's say it comes down to 260 or let's say 245. It comes there and then it bounces. I can lock in that hedge short term puts. And from there, I can actually add to my long term. But that won't do too much to my long term because we have about 3.5 weeks for this to play out. One thing about this chart, I am not a fan of where the lower Celt is, but I am a fan of where price is right now and how it's reacting to past price for 1013. You have 1031, you have 11.4, you have also 10.7, and that all is that's around 262.45 to 259.81. So that would be our range. Another thing I like to look at too is the weekly. I like to see, are we still inside? Where's price? These are just simple methods I use. So there's no point of drawing 1,000 lines, complicating anything. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool. I'm going to go to 11.7 candle, that weekly candle. This is the range for it. I'm going to drag it all the way across. So price in between. So now what I'm going to do is actually duplicate my horizontal line because I want to bring that up here. So that's 265.70. And then we got 289.14. That is where the rejection kept happening at. So what we are looking for is price to stay above 265.70 into the close of this Friday. So let's say we gap down to tonight, we're gapping down. We gap down tonight. Let's say tomorrow we bounce off that 262.45, opening around there. And then we hammer off of that. Duplicate level. First target will be 14 SMA, which coincides with the 1219 weekly candle. So first target 273.91. Above that, you get your middle count, followed by the 289.14, which is around 290. That's where this is actually where your middle count is around here. This is where a lot of the action has been happening. So it should come down around there. So this is how I make my placements for price. This is how I figure out, okay, so these are the levels I'm watching. If my fids line up with that, my kills line up with that level, that's a very important level. So when you guys see, I say, okay, this level here is key. That's a level to watch. Sometimes you'll catch me adding at that key level, puts or calls. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Lately, playing both sides has been very easy. And depending on what you're using, what time frame you're using, but 15-minute and the 5-minute with Keltner channels and 14 SMA and 30 SMA with just your simple levels, you can do a lot of damage. Let me show you 5-minute on QQ. This is after hours. Let me turn off after hours so it doesn't look crazy. Okay. Much better. Okay. So we got inverse head and shoulders, as you can see that. That obviously points out there. So if we gap down, we'll gap down somewhere around here or to the upper count. That's 265.05. So we're around there somewhere. Okay. Like a cup and handle also. So for me, this is how I trade. It's very, very simple. These are my levels, right? I respect these levels. So from last week, Friday, what happened to price? It gapped down. And when it gapped down, what did they do? They stuck it at 262.45, which is the level that I wanted to get long. And that's what we got long at NDX. And I posted long here. This is my target. And we actually talked about it before market open. This is what I'm looking for. This gap down. I wanted this gap down. This is my target for this gap down. So I took action and I went long on that gap down. Also giving myself room to add more to as well. So when that gap down happened, we're already outside of the lower Celt. So we're below the lower Celt. What happens to price when it's below the lower Celt? There's two things that happen. It either continues down and it starts to reject off the lower Celt and continues to go down, or it gets back inside the lower Celt and the lower Celt now acts as a support. And as you can see here with price action on the 5-minute, we bounced off the 262.45, came inside the lower Celt. Then we rode the 14 SMA, your blue dotted line, bounced off of that, got above the middle Celt, rejected around the 30 SMA. Now that 30 SMA was a rejection until the 14 and 30 crossed around 1150. Now around this time, usually you see price action either do one or two things. It bottoms or it tops. But when it does that, it continues to stall. And what happened is stalled from 1150 all the way to 105. And then it broke down. And here near 262.45 was another great spot to add. So from there, I was looking at 265 calls here. Let me mark that for you guys. $265 calls here. But as time went on, premium started dropping. So they started riding the lower Celt. I kept seeing them ride the lower Celt. So I'm like, okay, we're still above this low. It's a higher low here. And then here, hammer happened, added 265s, took 264s right here. This was the target going through, always 14 SMA, broke through that, got to the middle Celt. What happened when we did with the middle Celt over here? We rode the middle Celt. Now we're riding the middle Celt, rejecting it, boom, bounces off the 14 SMA, holds that, pushes up to upper Celt. Now we're riding that all the way. Now staying above here, as you can see, because this is where we broke down at, right? We broke down here. This is that same point where price changed. Bulls got it. Bull stepped in, end of day, pulled back around, what was this? Around 415, 430. And then we took off all the way to 266.55. Now, what I'm going to show you, I want to go back every single day. You look at every trade from a few days ago. This one, we gapped up, continued high, then boom, rejected. We double topped or triple topped here. And the triple top happened at the upper Celt. So that's two confirmations in one. And then we broke down, closed there, and then opened up on the gap down. Same thing goes for the day before that. Price went up, rejected at the 265.70 level, plus another rejection at the upper Celt, and then failed lower Celt, middle Celt, came all the way down to lower Celt, rode that, bounced around the 259.81, got to the 262.45 level, and then what happened? Rejected all the way into the close. Now from there, the risk reward was take calls here, and your target would be 263 calls overnight. Who's to say it didn't gap down? Yes, of course. So here's a point where the risk reward is greater on the long side. And if this trend was continuing, oops,
gonna do that. Here, what would have happened if it would have just gapped down and it just kept going here? So you would have basically hedged with puts. You can play at the money puts here, hedge, or and also take 262, 263 calls. I like 263, rounding to 262.45 to 262.50. Like it 260, 263 calls, 264 calls, or 265 calls. What happened? We gapped above this 262.45 level. A lot of times people do not backtrack. People don't backtrack, look at price action, look at it. You'll see a pattern. You have give yourself some good levels. You don't even need Fibonacci's. You don't need extensions, retracements. You don't. You can just do support and resistance. I tell you guys this all the time. It's just simple. Watch tomorrow how we trade this tomorrow. Stop jumping into trades, because I got to say this to y'all, and y'all don't do it, but people got to stop jumping into trades. If you don't understand it, and if it doesn't fit your trading criteria, your setup, the perfect setup for you, you should not be taking it. So for me, the next few days to weeks, I'm gonna be trading QQ, compounding. We're gonna be doing this all together. Like I said, my size is gonna be no more than 10% each trade. With a $5,000 account, is gonna be probably 5% each trade. So 250 allows me to play 20 times. Allows me to do 20 trades at one contract a piece. Or, I mean, if I'm paying at the money, or if I'm doing 250 per trade, I can max out 5 contracts at 50 cents. Or 4 contract, because you don't want to include, if you're including commission. But that's something of importance. But I want y'all just focus, because I'm telling you, at the end of this year, when you look back at it, it's just going to be something that is going to help just increase your, it's just gonna, your productivity is just going to be at a higher level with this, because it's gonna be simple. It's gonna come to a point where it's like, okay, you're gonna get to the point where it's like, I'm just buying 2 weeks out, playing at the money. It moves in my favor, take the 20%, and I'm done. And I was doing that too. That's one of my favorite strategies. Buy a week or 2 weeks out near the money. If I see has the stock's gonna move, has a 5-point range for the day on a specific stock, I'm like, okay, 5 points gives me 20% next week if I'm paying 2 to 3 points within that range, and it goes in my favor. But that's if it goes in my favor. So as far as losses go, it all depends on you. This is why I say buy time. Like, if you see me trading QQ puts or calls ODT, you can take one ODT, which is the next day, or you can play next week's. The whole goal is we can do this, and it's like, it's not even a follow the leader type of thing. It's a, yo, let's all bust our butts. Let's be focused. Like, if we don't need to trade, we hit our goal, why are we still trading? Unless, let's say, so tomorrow, 5,000, right? Let's go to our thing. So 5,000, right? Closing at 6,200. Nope, not 6,200. Something a little bit more. Let's do 7,200. Now that's 28%, right? But I didn't use my full account to make that 28% on the total account. I used half of that, probably got 100% gain. Not even, or let's say I only use 20% of my account, but I got lucky on a 300% gain. And that 300% gain got me to 7,200. And now I'm still left with 80% cash. Like I said, the 80% cash, I would
Scalp the end of day, one contract at a time, playing at the money, in and out, taking 20% pops, 30% pops, 50% pops. If it's dropping at like playing one contract is effective because it allows you to average down. And that's me. Like when I get into position, it's a starter. I take a starter and I get in, and that starter determines what I'm going to do. So I get a starter, it's coming down, I add another because it's coming down to a certain level, a specific level that I like. And then I'll add from there. So that's something I want y'all to do too. So think of it like this. All right, this is all I have to my name, $500, $2,000, $10,000, $50,000. I got to make this work. So if I got to be cheap, I know the end of goal for the month is this, but if I even get 25% of it or half of it, I'm still on the right track. Even if I make 50%, like not even half of it, like 30, like 20% of it, still great. You know, the whole goal is consistency, to be consistent. And that's what I want for us. Okay. So thank you guys